Hello, it's Josh, and I'm here today to help you get started with Zearn. The bit.ly will take you to the AI Tools slide deck that has some helpful links. If you don't get on this slide, don't worry, it will be at the bottom corner of each slide. Zearn is the second tool in that slide deck, so flip past the first tool to find information on Zearn. Today, we are going to cover a few things. We will start by learning about Zearn and how it's set up. Next, we will go over the mission overview, and then I will show you Zearn with a live demo highlighting how it works and where to find different tools and documents. Zearn is a top-rated math tool based in the science of learning. It helps learners explore concepts and make sense of math. Zearn helps accelerate student growth. It gives students hands-on, game-based approach to learning math. Zearn helps double the growth of learners when partnered with a high-quality curriculum. This study, done during the pandemic lockdown and school closures, shows students continue to grow even as they switch to remote learning. Zearn's videos are similar to classrooms and full of discussions and help students learn by giving them access to content in a new and different way. Zearn is a robust platform that covers K through 8. It works in connection with Eureka and K-5 and aligns with TEKS for 6 through 8. Zearn is a Texas math site that we're going to take a look at now. This site is made specifically for Texas. There are some great resources here for teachers. The first thing we're going to check out is the TEKS alignment document. This button takes you to a PDF that has each of the grade levels TEKS and the missions and the topics that cover each standard. Zearn covers a majority of the TEKS for each grade level. The key at the top of each page explains the colors and what the TEKS are covered in Zearn. The digital lesson overview is something good to watch later. This video walks you through the different parts of a Zearn lesson and how they work with each other to create a great learning environment. The videos in Zearn can be used to teach students while you are working with a small group at a teacher table. Celebration certificates are the last thing I want to draw your attention to. Zearn has already created certificates in case you want to highlight or celebrate students. They are for K-5, but with a little editing, you can make them work for 6 through 8 as well. They are PDF files to print out and complete the student's information to award the certificate. Now it's time to get into Zearn and learn by moving through the platform. You can sign into Zearn from ClassLink by clicking on the Zearn logo. That will launch you into Zearn and take you to the dashboard. The dashboard is your hub for all the content in Zearn. Across the top with important links to different parts of Zearn, we are going to start in the curriculum part of Zearn. Clicking the curriculum opens up a drop-down to select the grade level you want to see. We're going to take a look at 5th grade today. The Grade 5 overview includes an overview of the entire curriculum, a breakdown of each of the missions or units, and a video PD that covers the topics in each unit. We are going to look into mission number 2. In mission 2, based on operations, there are multiple resources here. The first resource is an overview of the entire mission. It has a curriculum map for all of Zearn to show vertical alignment if you need to look into foundational lessons that some learners might need to help be successful. There are learning objectives and new vocabulary that students will encounter during the mission. There are teacher and student materials that break down each topic and lesson. Each lesson is broken into different parts. Lesson 1 includes 2 fluency activities, one that covers previous topics to help build on that learning. The other is specific to this lesson to get learners ready for their guided and independent practice. Guided practice is a math chat. It is a video that simulates small group learning. It walks students through the concept with multiple pausing points that requires learners to do some math. They can use the scratch paper or printed out notes from the mission's instructional materials. Tower Power is the independent practice portion of the Zearn lesson cycle. It asks learners questions about the math it just covered in the math chat. Learners must answer each question correctly to move on to the next lesson. Zearn does offer some supports to help learners during this part. It will break down questions to more supported digital manipulatives to help learners understand the question being asked. Zearn will then ask a similar question to see if the learner can transfer the learning to a new problem. This brings us to the report that needs to be checked when your learners are using Zearn, Tower Alerts. They can be found under the Reports tab and then under Tower Alerts. This opens the alerts that are created when your learners are not successful in the Tower of Power. Each time a learner does not complete the Tower of Power and has to attempt it again, it creates a Tower Alert. It is important to check these regularly to make sure your learners are not getting stuck. If a learner is having an issue with the lesson, it's a good idea to get them some help so they can complete the independent practice Tower of Power and move on to the next lesson. This intervention might be assigning a new or different lesson or helping them in a small group or individually. What you do not want is your learners getting stuck in a lesson where they are attempting the Tower of Power many times and not being successful. This is bad for learning and has caused some students to not want to learn using Zearn. You can assign topics and lessons to your student so it matches the math they are learning from your HQIM. To assign lessons, go to the Assignments tab and a list of your classes will appear. Find the class you want to assign a lesson to and click that in the menu. That brings up a list of your students. Zearn is rostered, so your learners will always be there and any changes in your class will be reflected in your roster in Zearn. There are 3 ways to assign lessons in Zearn. The first is to assign a lesson to a single student. To do that, click the down arrow and then the pencil to open the Change Lesson menu. Select the lesson you want to assign to the student and then click the Assign to change the lesson for that student. The second and third ways assign lessons to multiple learners at the same time. You can click the checkbox next to multiple students' names to change the lesson for those students, or you can click the checkbox next to the students in the dark header to change the lessons for all the students in that class. Once you mark your students, click the pencil button that says Change Current Lesson to open the Change Lesson menu that you already saw. Select the lesson you want to assign and to list of students and click Assign, and that list of students will get the new lesson. That's the basics of Zearn and how to use it in your classroom. You can go in and change the lessons your students are working on, or you can have them start working on Mission 1, Lesson 1 right now. Remember, when your students are working, please make sure to check your Tower Alerts often to help them be successful.